It's been a while since I've done a video, so I figured there's no better time than now. It's pretty cold out this time of year, obviously. I think the temperature right now is up in upstate New York here. It's about 10 degrees above zero. At night it's been dropping down below zero. Tonight probably be 15 below zero. In our aviaries, and this is probably stuff that I've talked about in the past before, but I'm going to kind of repeat it because it's important information. A lot of you guys that are engineers or work in the dairy industry or work in the food industry are familiar with something called countercurrent heat exchange. In the dairy industry we use it. We actually have plate heat exchanges where we send warm or cold liquid through a heat exchange, and coming in the opposite direction is the milk, and that heats up the milk faster. It's more efficient. Same thing here. We get a lot of people that ask, you know, are ducks cold in the wintertime? And the answer is yes and no. If you look through our aviaries up here, we have birds range that come from you know, a wide array of habitats in parts of the world. Africa, in some cases, South America, you know, Hawaii, and they all do pretty well out here, providing one of the key aspects of keeping birds healthy, waterfowl healthy in the wintertime is open water. So we run this water, we trickle this water in all the aviaries 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and all throughout the winter. The water's you know, somewhere around 45 degrees or so, well water, we're running it, keeps the area open. The other thing that helps waterfowl get through the winter without frozen feet, and it keeps them warm, with their feet, they have, I just started talking about countercurrent flow. In their feet, the arteries and the veins are so close together, just like I talked about with the plate heat exchange. The arteries feed the blood, the warm blood, down to the toes and the feet, and coming back up is the veins come back up and return, and they're so close to the arteries that actually heats the feet up on the birds. That's the same thing that dogs and some of the other animals that can live outside in colder weather, you know, canines like the foxes and coyotes and stuff, they also have a countercurrent blood flow heat exchange system. That's for most species of ducks, with very few exceptions. Their feet don't freeze in the wintertime for that reason. You have a couple of birds like tree ducks and stuff like Hartle's ducks and comb ducks, which don't have a really well-developed countercurrent blood flow system in their feet. So if we had tree ducks out here, since we have a lot of cold, you know, ice on the ground, what the ice does is it prevents the radiant heat coming up from the ground. You know, same thing with the insulated snow. Back when I was younger, the old timers used to say, well, if you got snow, you won't have any frozen feet and you'll have warm birds. That's not true, because the snow actually absorbs the heat out of the bird's feet if the birds don't tuck their feet up properly, which they don't a lot of times. You can see them standing on the ice and stuff. So one of the things too is, like, if you have birds in the southern parts of the United States where it may get down to zero at night, birds like tree ducks will do fine at night when you get some dips down to zero. But it's if the ground starts freezing or if you start getting snow on it, it inhibits the heat from coming up to the ground. Another thing, while we're on this whole topic, well, again, getting back to this open water. The open water in the wintertime heats the birds up through the feet. The feet actually help regulate the temperature of the bird. Likewise, in the summertime, during the hot summer, we actually run this for some of the northern birds to cool them down. If you have cascading ponds, it can be an issue when you run water, simply because what happens is, as it goes from one pond to the next, the water will cool down as it goes down and down. And I kind of got the same thing going on here. I got this drain over here, and it's got small holes in it. It's up above the water. I didn't cut it off because I'd have birds going down the drain if it was at water level. But it's got small holes in it, and by the time this water gets from here over to the drain, it's almost frozen. It is frozen. So this water ends up running over the side here, and just down, which I don't really care about. But that's something to definitely consider, you know, if you're designing ponds. Another thing that people tend to do a lot of times, and it's a mistake in my opinion, is to think that water pumped from a pond. I'm looking over this way because I got a big pond over here where I could pump water out of. But a water pump from a pond or a stream or something won't necessarily stay open even though it's running water, simply because it's already near freezing out there, you know, in the pond or in the stream. The water is so low in temperature, by the time you pump it up, you could actually be, it's like plugging an artery as it continues to flow. And then just lastly, really quickly, in the wintertime, it's important to make sure that you monitor that your birds are eating properly, and they got enough caloric intake as well as fat, not just for getting through the winter, but waterfowl, unlike a lot of other species of birds, require the fat in their bodies to produce for egg production. In other words, they pull from their fat stores, unlike other birds which will go out and eat on a daily basis to supply the nutrients and for egg production. And that's it.